Hello there. Let me ask you something. How many times you have those talks in your mind that are not so, let's say, motivating or empowering? They always, you feel like it's trying to put you down. Well, I believe most of us have those talks. And unfortunately, most of them come from a very early age, come from when we are even more teenagers, when we have to make those big decisions in life of what we want to become. Today, I have the pleasure to bring here in our Speak Up Elite Talks, the place to be for sexy and savvy conversation, a lady from Zimbabwe. Her name is Melody Tipo Makuwaza. And Melody is a storyteller. How beautiful. And she uses her own story to empower teenagers to find their voice and speak up. She's also a co-author of Tales of Womanhood. And on that, she shares her own journey. But let's welcome Melody today to Speak Up and Leader Talks, where you will have the opportunity to hear directly from her journey, her passion, and what she's sharing with the world. Welcome to the program, Melody. And Melody is calling from Zimbabwe. Is that amazing? It's like this is what technology really amazes me. So we are same time zone, and she's there in Africa and here in Europe. And that's amazing. Welcome, Melody.
Thank you so much, Tulia, for this opportunity and for sharing your platform with me. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So Melody, tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to do what you're doing right now. And then we go discovering your journey.
All right. Growing up in the township of Highfield in Harare, here in Zimbabwe, I come from a very humble background. And I grew up in very difficult conditions, really. And I struggled with a sense of self-esteem growing up. I felt like I didn't have a voice. As much as I actually had ideas, I had a mindset with regards to what I wanted to say out loud. But because of where I was coming from, I would feel that I was not worthy when probably I'm in a group of people and we are speaking. And it kind of like led me to go in life with self-limiting beliefs as I was growing up. And later on in my journey, I realized that this was also due to my background as well as the environment that I was growing up in. Fast forward, I was working in the corporate sector in the human resources department. And I realized that on paper, you'd find these brilliant, amazing young people who would be coming in or applying for positions to come in the organization. But during the interview process, most of the time they don't get the positions because of lack of articulation, lack of exposure. And I realized that they were actually going through the same things that I had gone through when I was growing up. So I decided to leave my corporate position and I started my nonprofit organization called the Mentoring Class for Young People, which is part of my passion to empower the young people who were coming from the same environment that I was coming from. So we teach them in the mentoring class, we inspire them, we motivate them, we give them access to information, exposure, and opportunities, as well as also teach them issues to do with soft skills, your self-esteem, confidence, to also teach them to believe in themselves. So this is, in a nutshell, a part of my story.
That it is amazing, and you said a few things there that already put me like, wow, I want to know more. But let's go
Okay.
a little bit back, and
Mhm,
because you said something that is what I preach, which is we need to have a voice out there, but
mhm,
our voice needs to be clear, and our message needs to be clear in order that we can create the impact we believe we can create. And
so
it's
true.
crucial when we are growing up, even more teenagers, who wants to go
Mhm,
back and become a teenager again. It's the
mhm,
most difficult time in life, all decisions
mhm,
we have to make. And
mhm,
I think it's where we really need to get this encouragement of defining our voice and saying that, yes, you can, but giving them the support. And from what I heard from you is
mhm,
uh, you didn't have that growing up.
mhm, mhm,
Many of us didn't, and
mhm.
because our surroundings and families, whatever reason, they were not prepared also to give us that.
That's the truth.
But
Yes.
yeah, but now fortunately we have this awareness and we can
Mhm,
share, and then maybe no, and then we can make some changes. But
mhm,
tell us a little bit, because you told us the result, like through, because you didn't have a voice, now you have support orders, and we go
mhm,
into more detail on that. But what I would like to hear a little bit is, by having to struggle with this feeling lack of confidence, and
mhm,
what were the limiting beliefs and the self-sabotage talks that you
mhm,
had with yourself? Because when we feel we are not good enough, we tell
mhm, mhm,
us so many amazing stories. Can you
mhm,
share with
mhm. I think sometimes probably when you're in a group, probably you're in a meeting, for example, and you have a brilliant idea, but you are afraid to speak out because you are afraid to be judged. And most of the time, no one is really going to judge you, but it's really because of your own self-limiting beliefs and you're sabotaging yourself because of what is going on in your own mindset. So I was really struggling with regards to really articulating myself and even speaking out how I was feeling. And I also realized that in terms of even saying no to certain things, you don't have that voice or the power to stand in your own power to say, no, this is not what I'm going to do, or I do not believe in this, because you are scared to speak out loud. So this is some of the things that we are teaching our young people, not only the young people, and even myself as a woman. This is one of the things that sometimes we are always yes, 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 when you really want to say no, because you cannot stand in your own voice and you cannot stand in your own power. So sometimes as people, we really self-sabotage ourselves. So I really believe that healing starts from the mind. So you really need to be healed from the inner person, and then it goes out to one starting to articulate and to speak well and things like that.
and that I fully sign down for everything you said, and we is interesting also in this
Mhm,
no. It's very powerful and
mhm.
empowering to be able to say no from a place of
Yes,
confidence and knowing that a no means no. But
yes.
also I know I know that certain cultures have more difficulties on that, and then you put like the cultural aspect, the women's always being compliant to something,
Mhm,
and this makes for us even more difficult. I'm from
mhm,
Brazil, and in Brazil our culture, we don't say no, and it's always like, because our conversation is very circular, is never
mhm.
linear,
So
and we
true.
avoid confrontations. So it's very difficult for someone that comes from a different country, or a different
Mhm,
culture, understand really yes it means a no, because they always say
mhm,
yeah, yeah,
mhm,
yeah, of course, yes, but this to stand for a no is a challenge,
mhm,
in our
mhm,
country.
mhm.
Is it the same for you in Zimbabwe?
It actually is. From a cultural point of view, it's really difficult, sometimes, especially when you're dealing with the older generation, to really stand and you can say, no, I'm not going to do this. But I realize that as I go in my journey and as I am maturing and growing, I am starting to stand unapologetically in my no. But it wasn't always like that. There are times that you kind of like, you don't really say it. You don't really say no because you're kind of like scared to say it out loud because of how we have been socialized. But as I am growing, I am now owning my voice better. I'm getting better, really, at the end of the day.
Yes, and the thing is about the no, giving the no, there's also the receiving the no, because we
Mhm.
are not educated also
That's
to
so true. That's
receive
so
a no.
true.
And when we receive a no, this no, we receive it very personally. It's a no to me, to Tulia. And what we have to understand that the no is not necessarily, depending on the situation, of course,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily to me, it's a necessarily to, it's to a situation, it's to a request, it's to a project. And that is what we have to learn as well. And this comes once you learn how to receive a no. This is also an empowerment because you say, okay, now I have to do something to get a
Mhm.
yes,
I
right?
really love the way you've put it, that we need to also learn how to receive a no. I had really never really looked at it like that. I heard somebody who said that no is a complete sentence. So sometimes you just say no and you don't have to explain yourself. It's a no.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
yeah, I love the aspect that you said that we need to also learn to receive it as well. That is very powerful.
it is because I see the many times, and you know for this yourself as being an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
that people they're afraid of speaking up, of
Mm-hmm.
expressing their thoughts because
Yes,
they're afraid of receiving the no, the negative
that's so
response
true.
to their request or to their idea. And we
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to be open for that, because also a
Mm-hmm.
no can be very important for your process, because a
That's so
no
true.
forces you to reassess and
Mm-hmm.
reevaluate where you are, and then
Mm-hmm.
thinking, is this really a no, this is not possible, or this is a no, I'm not ready and I have to fix here and fix there and I have to make changes. So it's very important to be prepared for this no.
And I love the fact that you say that from an entrepreneur's point of view, we are going to be receiving a lot of no's in this journey, but you really need to then be strong in your mind and to be able to learn to receive the no, that it's really not personal at the end of the day. If there's something rather that you need to then change for you to get the yes, or to just change route so that you can get the yes that you're looking for. And one of the mantras that I actually loved about you is your mantra where you say that I am a creator. I don't find a door, I build one. I found that to be so powerful that sometimes, even as we are getting our no's or whatever, if you get a no, just go and create your own door.
Exactly. Oh, how many doors I had to create, I'm telling you. And I'm still creating. And still I can be very stubborn. And I can take a no. But the
Mhm,
thing is that also we have to say, I can take a no. But the important
mhm.
thing is not only to take a no, you have to listen to the no. Because I
That's
can take a no and
mhm.
continue doing what I'm doing. So then that doesn't help anything. So
It
it's
doesn't.
very
You don't learn
important
anything.
to
Mhm.
welcome the no as a moment of reassessment and reevaluation. So
I love that.
that's very important.
I
Very.
love that.
I
I
would
love
like
that.
to ask you then, um, from what I understand, what you're
Mhm,
telling us,
mhm,
everything you do now, and with
mhm,
your charity initiative, helping
mhm,
teenagers, which I think
mhm,
is fantastic. This is in my list for not this year, but maybe next year.
mhm.
And how this align? with for you, with your purpose, with your passion in your life? What is the connection you made? You told us about your story, that no voice, so then you want to give them a voice. But what is your big vision in your purpose on that?
I think really at the end of the day, because this is my story, really. This is where I have come from. So I'm so passionate, and this is my pain point. And I really feel that our purpose and our passions, they are connected with the things that give us pain. So every time that I find a young person or a woman who is not able to articulate themselves, who is not going to stand, or who is not able to stand in their own voice or power, this is really painful for me, because it was really something that I've been struggling with for such a long time. So this is where really my purpose and my passion comes, with regards to working with the young people through my charity organization. And now I'm also working with women through my life coaching and my speaking, and at the end of the day, because I really believe that everyone deserves and needs to stand in their voice and in their power.
Oh, you're my lady. You are my voice out there to repeat, to spread what I keep saying. So that's awesome. And also, you mentioned something that I haven't thought, and you're right. Like, your passion is very much related to your pain. So
Yes.
think about this, people. Your passion is very much related to your pain. Oh, that's
so true.
Yes. And tell us a little bit what is the process of the empowerment to these kids, to these teenagers. What is the system you use? What do you do?
What we have done is, when we started this process, it was really, we started it as a pilot project, and we were doing different workshops for them and with them. I'll give you an example. There is one school that we started with, and these children had a low sense of self-esteem. They couldn't even engage when we were doing our workshops. But at the end of our period with them, they were really speaking, they were talking, they were articulating themselves. So our process really is about a person knowing who they are, knowing yourself as a person. Who are you really? Why are you here? And to also see yourself in the world, that, in the words of Lupita Nyong'o, that no matter where you're coming from, your dreams are valid. So it doesn't really matter that you're coming from the townships, you're coming from the ghetto, as long as in your mindset you are empowered enough to know that you can believe that anything is possible and that you can do anything. So that is really where we are really teaching our young children, our young youth, the girls and boys that we're working with, that it doesn't matter which school you're going to, which environment, which background, which family or community that you're coming from. You matter. You can actually, how can I put it? There is something that the world needs from you. So really, our process is about, our process really is about just discovering yourself, just be in action, and just to keep learning at the end of the day. Just keep learning and surround yourself with people who probably know better than yourself, accountability partners, have mentors, have coaches around you. It is said that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. So who are you hanging around with? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you speaking, even with regards to yourself? There is somebody who says that what you say you can do is true, and what you say you can't, it is also true. So you really choose what you really want to believe in. So really, our process is really changing the mindset of our young people, and also the women in the life coaching.
That's excellent. And my question here coming into my mind while listening to you is, do you work with their parents as well in this process?
No, we were not working with the parents. We were only working with just the young people. But looking at the bigger picture, sometimes you realize that if we've got more resources, that will actually be fantastic to work with the parents, because
Mm.
same children are going back in the same environment where probably if the parents have got self-limiting beliefs, it's really like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
At at our mentorship classes, we are teaching them that they can do anything, they can be anything, but this person is going back to their old environment with maybe parents who are really not empowered, who are not really believers in terms of what we are teaching. So it's kind of like it really takes a lot for this person to come out of this.
Exactly.
So,
And this would be my next question, because I believe from what you're telling me,
mhm,
as the environment, they go back to their own environment that's not empowering, that's not
mhm,
supportive. And
mhm.
what are the actions and that you give to them, like as a tools of that they can put in practice themselves in a
Mhm.
systematic basis, that then it helps them to really still thrive and see differences within those environments that are not supportive.
All
Can
right.
you give us some examples?
What we're doing as well is we are also trying to look for people who have come out of the same environment that they have. For example, myself, I have come out from a very poor background, very humble background, very difficult background. And my mother couldn't read or write, for example. So it's like when we are speaking to them and we're inspiring them, we are also telling them our own personal stories, that you know what, yes, maybe your parents or the environment that you're in is not conducive, but you also have to really take yourself out of it and kind of like be the look at yourself as somebody who can actually get out of it. And we're also looking for mentors who are coming in, who have gotten out of those kind of environments, and they're also talking about the processes that they've also used in their own paths. Because sometimes it's different. Maybe when somebody from a very who has come from a very different background, probably an established background, sometimes these kids might look at you and say, you know what, you don't understand what I'm going through. How can you tell me that I can make it? So most of the time, we're really using people who have come from the same background to say, look, this is possible. It can happen, but you need to just change your mindset. So where we come in with regards to then surrounding yourself with people of influence and positive influence is your friends, even at school. Look at friends who are people that you're going to be encouraging each other. Look at role models. And this is where the organization, the mentoring class comes in, where we are also assigning mentors to these children who are kind of like a support system and accountability partners. That as much as these kids might be going back to those toxic or not very encouraging environment, these mentors are kind of like they continue to say, yes, you can do it, yes, you can do it, yes, you can do it. And they keep on pushing and they can keep on encouraging.
That's excellent. It makes perfect sense. And tell
Mhm.
us, what's the name of your charity organization?
It's called the mentoring class.
Now, the
The
mentoring class.
mentoring class, yes.
And how many people you have involved right now? Or you a one woman show?
Right now, it was basically a one-woman show, but the way that we have been working, because we don't have sponsorship or donor funding, but I told myself that I'm not going to stop to make an impact because there is no donor funding. I've been self-funding myself, but on the other hand, what I have been doing is I have been getting the help from volunteers and experts, people around me. So relationship building with other people or other organizations as well. So I've really been collaborating with other people with regards to then giving our workshops and making an impact at the end of the day. So most of the time when we're doing workshops, it's about looking for volunteers who come in probably with expert advice and they actually assist with regards to running the workshops as we are growing. Definitely, we would definitely love funding to come in, but we are not going to stop.
That's my kind of girl. So that's awesome. That's exactly. And I hope maybe you never know someone who listens to this interview and just step in and say, I'm in, I want to support you financially somehow. Let's think that is possible.
That would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic. I would be very happy that this would happen for you and for your community and if your kids down there. And my last question to you would be, what would be your key points, your suggestions that you could give to my community are professional women, but anyway, most of them, they have children, and maybe you can decide if you want to give some suggestions to them when they see themselves disempowered or stuck or with sabotage thoughts, or it's suggestions to their children, and if they see their children are not feeling empowered or feeling lack of confidence, what do you do? Just give us 3 key points that you could share with us.
All right. I want to say that 80 to 90% of our results is really the mindset. So we really need to empower ourselves from the mindset, and healing starts from the mind. So we need to surround ourselves with amazing people who are really going to support us, mentors, coaches, accountability partners. So really the people that you surround yourself with, number one, is a key point. The next thing is never stop learning, keep moving, keep evolving. Whatever you're going through right now, just always strive to improve yourself and just do it and do it afraid. And the universe will conspire to actually help you, and the universe will conspire for you and to help you and to open doors for you for somebody who's going to probably assist you and support you in your quest.
That is a wonderful message. Thank you. We all need to hear that from time to time, because even we are here in this path of supporting others, and by supporting others, we are also learning and developing ourselves. But of course, we are humans, and there are moments where we doubt, there are moments that we feel demotivated, and it's always good to have a positive message and saying that the universe, by all means, is a supportive environment.
Yes,
so we can trust. We can trust.
Exactly.
We have to keep going, being curious and keep going. Melody, we'll have to finish now. I could stay here talking to you the whole morning. It has been an amazing pleasure, and I really thank you for having contacted me. We got in touch through Facebook. Yeah, you just spoke to me, and then we started talking, and then I realized that we are doing, we are aligned in what we are doing, and I'm always curious to know what exactly the ladies around the world are doing, and hopefully, let's ask the universe now that one day we can meet in person, or we can collaborate in something. And let's also ask that this financial support comes to you right now for you.
I received that. Thank you so much.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. And until the next time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me the platform as well. I wish you all the best as well in what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.